So, welcome back to another lecture of the series, the SAP ABAP series. In the very last lecture, we have covered item table creation part. Before that, we have also covered the header table creation. Thus, we now know how to create tables, the header and item tables, how to link them to easily organize the data. We have covered the custom tables, those were custom tables. Now, there are some standard tables in SAP as well that are predefined by SAP. There are some standard tables as well. So, today's topic is these tables, these standard tables. For that, to learn that, we need to first understand where do they come from, what is their origin. Okay, so let's go back to our first lecture. We discussed that a business runs by using various processes. There are multiple applications from SAP that support these processes like finance, sales, HR, then there is a material management team. So all these processes when combined together, this helps the organizations to run smoothly. Now, for that, as we discussed earlier, there is a SAP NetWeaver part, which is used to integrate different applications. There is a business suite which comes with multiple modules in SAP that helps businesses to run. So let's understand these modules. Suppose let's understand by an example. Why are they needed? Why are there multiple processes, multiple applications needed for an organization to run? Okay, so let's take an example. Suppose there is a company, there is a brand, suppose HP. So it produces and sells laptop. It gets an order. Suppose gets an order of 10,000 laptops, and it has to produce and sell them in the market. Okay. So how does all these processes work together, and how does a company work? Let's understand that. First, they get the order for 10,000 laptops. They need to have some material, some raw material to build those laptops, to produce those laptops. So there might be some team who takes care of that material management part. You agree with that? There is a team which deals with organizing and storing the materials for production. This business process is handled by this material management module. Okay, now suppose we have the materials to produce. Let's continue with the production part. The company HP has to build the laptops, produce the laptops. They have a dedicated team, workers, helpers who work on these parts. There are multiple machines which are used to integrate these parts, produce laptops. So there is a team, and to plan these accordingly, how to build these, what is the first process, what is the second process. There is a separate team, and for the same team there is a module called production planning. Suppose we have our laptops ready. Now, before selling them, we have to store them somewhere to keep them safe, to make it easy whenever an order we have to deliver the order. We need to organize those laptops efficiently so we can deliver them efficiently. Now, there is a storage part as well in this entire process. There we have to store the laptops. Then there is a warehouse for that. There is a warehouse management. It is a separate team that takes care of that. Then there is some data about storing that as well, to handle that part as well. Suppose we have our warehouse working. Now Sales part. There is a dedicated team who takes care of sales and distribution, who sell these laptops. And there is a logistic team as well who takes care of distribution, like delivering the orders. We have all these done. We have all the laptops sold, suppose. Now we have the we have to analyze, did we make profit or loss? Then there is a separate team for that also. There is a separate module as well, that is financial accounting and controlling, FICO. We called it as a combined FICO, FINCO. Now everything is done. Suppose, not suppose, but every organization needs some customer support as well. They have sold the laptops, but what if the customer faces some issue? Then there is a separate team that handles that as well. That is customer relationship management. CRM, you might have heard about CRM softwares. There are multiple in the market. So all these modules, these are just a few. There are many others like this. There are tons of modules like this. So when these processes work together, only then an organization runs smoothly. Okay. Now, what are these? These are some tables, some software arranging data into that, fetching the database, fetching the details, data from that. These are nothing but some tables only. Insert the data, fetch the data, update the data, and delete the data. That's it. Okay. So for each and every module, there are multiple tables in SAP, multiple tables for every module. These are nothing but standard tables. For financial accounting, suppose there are lots of tables. Two of the two of some common tables are these. I have given the name of some popular modules and some popular tables from that. For controlling, there is USP and CSKS. For sales and distribution, VBLN, VBAK, VBAP. For material management, MARA, MAKT. For financial accounting, BKPF, BACG. There are some T codes related to these tables that are these. We won't work with these, like an ABAP consultant does not need to work in this because we are on the technical side of this SAP. We need to build custom tables. But the functional consultants which work on this, they need to work on it. There are consultants in every field, for SD, for MM, for WM. Okay, so these are some examples of standard tables. How do they look? Check this. Suppose, let's check which one. Suppose VBAK. VBAK. Change. Sorry, we not need to change. Sorry, my bad. Open in display mode. Check this. Check the number of columns. 262. These are standard tables. This one is for sales and distribution module. Okay. Just like we had our tables, there are standard tables in SAP. Check the entries. Okay. Now check one more. Check this. This is Mara table. 367 rows or 367 these are columns, these are fields. 367 columns in that table. Okay, so that is all about tables. Now we have learned tables to understand a separate topic, that is structures. Let's go back now. So these are the standard tables. We will later work on on these tables. Now, structures. A structure is a data type that groups together fields under one name. Together fields from a table. So what is this? Suppose consider that whenever we are storing the data in the database, so suppose it was student ID. Okay, a column was student ID. So how we were storing that? The data type was simple for it, just a character and length 3. It was a simple data type. Now we have more complex data types. Apart from these simple normal data types, we have complex data types. One of which is structures. It is a complex data type that groups together fields from a table. Now what does it do? It is just a blueprint. It does not store any data. Suppose take a screenshot, take a snapshot of a table. Suppose from the, let's check it. Suppose let's open this table. It can only store a few columns, although it can store as many columns as you want, but it is generally used to store a few columns. Like suppose exam name, exam. One more thing, there will be no data inside a structure. It is just a logical representation of a table. You can use it as a logical representation of a table. You won't be able to store any data. You won't be able to store any data, but we can consider it as a blueprint. How is it created? Let's go back. Suppose here ZSTR, suppose 1, create. Here it is. We have got an option to create a structure. Create it. Short description. So leave that for now. Here, what we can do, we can give the data elements here of those fields from the tables which for which we want to create a structure. We can give those fields here, those data elements here. Okay, we will check it in the next video how to create a structure. Now, why is it used? There is a topic called internal table. Whenever we work on data, whenever we work on tables in the database, we do not directly append or edit something into the database. First of all, we use internal table. Internal table is used to fetch a copy of data from the database. So for that internal table, we can create that internal table using a structure that we will check later. So to create that structure, to create that internal table, structures can be used. Again, second is work area. Work area is what? From that internal table, a single row at a time. At a point, only a single row is the record of a single row is stored into the work area. So we can create that work area also using these structures. Table types, again, it is the type of tables itself. Type of tables, table type that we will see later. We can create all these using structures. How many types of structures are there in SAP? There are two types. First of all, include structure, and second one is append structure. Include structure is one which we can append into table and at any point. At any point, suppose we have created this table, we can insert a structure here or here or here or anywhere. Okay, so this is include structure. One more thing, this include structure cannot be added to any standard table. It will violate the rules of the standard tables. That is why it cannot be used there. It can only be added to the custom table, customers user specific tables. Okay. Second one is append structure. Just like include structure, but append structure can only be added to the last. The word append itself means add something to the last. So an append structure is used to add customer specific fields to an existing SAP standard structure table or structure without modifying the original definition. We can take a help of it, and without violating the meaning of a table, the definition of a table, we can add it to the last of a standard table also. Custom tables and as well as standard tables that won't violate any conditions from the standard table, so we can use it, we can add it at the last also in case of standard table also. Each table can only have one active append structure. It is not reusable. This includes structure. Once you define it, suppose you define from that student table, you define student ID and student name as a structure. You can use that structure for as many tables as you want across this SAP system. But in case of append structure, you can only use one structure at the end of a standard table, only because you create that table from by opening the same table. You can create that structure by opening the same table. You cannot create any append structure using the SE level transaction. So this is reusable, but this is not. Fine. So we will check how this structure part work in the next lecture. It is sufficient for today. Please do some research on these tables, that will help a lot to understand the SAP systems better, and we'll cover this part in the next lecture. Okay. So let's hope to meet soon. Till then, goodbye. Thank you so much.